Waiting for the legislature to lay out a budget plan is excruciating for the Department of Human Services and the many agencies it contracts with. This will be the fourth straight year of budget cuts, and up until now, DHS has held child welfare services harmless. But this year that could change as DHS prepares for a worst-case scenario.
The Tulsa Boys Home is at capacity with 64 young people who are either wards of the state or trying to overcome addictions. Ranging in age from 11 to 18, the boys placed here through the Oklahoma Department of Human Services have behavioral problems that can't be dealt with in a foster home.
It's not uncommon, Liz, for them to have had 30 or 40 failed placements since they were, say, 4, 5, 6 years old prior to coming to the Tulsa Boys Home.
Gary Conway is the executive director of the Tulsa Boys Home. He praises the philanthropy community in Tulsa for meeting half of the home's $6 million budget. The rest comes from the state.
The money that we get from the state in the way of a per diem doesn't come close to covering the cost of caring for these guys on a daily or annual basis.
Still, Conway is thankful that DHS has not cut funding in recent years, while another state agency has been forced to reduce funding for the boys' home.
We received about a $31,000 cut in our per diem from the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. The year before it was about $50,000. We've been cut every year for the last 3 years or so.
All state agencies and departments have been warned to prepare for the worst-case scenario of a 14.5% budget cut for the next fiscal year. Ed Lake is the director of DHS. Best-case scenario, if you got a flat budget.
The best-case scenario for us is not really a best case because with our obligations, a flat budget is still going to mean a sizable reduction that we'll have to make because the obligations that we have exceed our wherewithal to pay for them.
In the past 3 years, DHS has held child welfare harmless while cutting elsewhere in order to meet the moral as well as the court-ordered obligation to improve foster care and other vital services for children.
If we had to go very deep, then we can no longer do what we've been doing all along, which is protecting our child welfare services from dramatic reductions. That jeopardizes our progress in the Pinnacle Plan, the court-ordered settlement agreement that we have. And I don't think anybody wants to back up on the progress that we've been making there. That's just crazy.
Under the Pinnacle Plan, great strides have been made in closing shelters and increasing foster care placements. That is due in part because DHS went to the private sector for help. DHS contracts with 18 private agencies like St. Francis Community Services to find foster families. Chris Gill is the director of St. Francis Community Services in Oklahoma. He says families aren't paid enough now.
If foster families rates get cut, it just burdens these people, these saints, who are willing to take these children into their home. Foster parents aren't doing this for the money. They're doing it because they feel called to do it, and it's in their heart.
Depending on the depth of cuts to DHS, Gill also knows his organization could be out of business in Oklahoma. Former state lawmaker Joe Dorman now heads up the Oklahoma Institute for Child Advocacy. Dorman says the state of Oklahoma has made good progress in improving the lives of young people in recent years, but warns the state budget crisis could unravel all of it.
Currently, by our Kids Count data, a project that we work with the Annie E. Casey Foundation nationally, we've improved overall from 39th in the nation to 37th. We went up 2 percentage points last year. If we see some type of cut or fallback on the programs, we're going to fall right back down that rung. 2010, we were at 44th.
Dorman says it is wishful thinking that the cuts won't be as deep as 14.5%.
Until we see an improvement in the economy with what we're seeing with the oil and gas production, the sales tax, other areas of income that we receive at the state of Oklahoma, we have to anticipate that 14.5% is going to be a reality.
And Dorman believes the budget shortfall estimate of $887 million is too low.
With the paying back of the rainy day fund, the paying back of the lottery dollars, the commitment to teachers that they would do some type of pay raise this year, it's easily over $1 billion of what the legislature needs to find for new revenue.
So far, state lawmakers haven't identified significant new funding sources, leaving countless people, state agencies, and organizations in the lurch.
I'm putting together a revised budget. I'm putting together probably 3 revised budgets to take to the Boys Homes Finance Committee this week.
The uncertainty is killing everyone, I think, because it's very difficult to think about suddenly having to make significant reductions starting July 1 if we don't know where we're going until late in the final days of the session.